Everyone was so sure that Anthony was going to lose this fight that Bruce Buffer, for the first time in his entire career, straight up called the wrong winner. He just won by guillotine right in front of him. And in his mind, like, he had unconsciously already decided that Vitor Patrino was going to beat Anthony Smith. I mean, that's the way that I read it. You know what I mean? Because that is super bizarre. You know, it's not like there was any ambiguity. It wasn't like it went to decision. He's probably so embarrassed, man. Bruce Buffer does such a good job, man. He is so serious about his job. I actually want to say that because I'm probably going to lead off the video with this. And I want to just make clear, I'm not breaking his balls. I'm just illustrating how heroic and gangster it was that Anthony went in and had that performance. But Bruce Buffer, if you ever been to the show and you watch him, like, he's not out there phoning it in, dude. Like, when you're, watching the commentators at home, he is on the side of the cage or inside the cage, jumping up and down, getting himself all fired up. Like, he is super serious about doing a good job. So he's probably mortified. I guarantee you he has talked to Anthony 2-3 times about it since then. But Anthony's a gangster. Bruce Buffer can be forgiven for this one mistake. Never again. Just kidding. Oh, 301 was a lot better than we anticipated, I would say. That was a legit card last night. That was fun, man. I had a good time. Especially when my boy right there choked Patrino, because, good God, I lost my mind. I'll talk about that in a second, actually. But, yeah, dude, that was actually a really fun card to watch, man. A lot of stoppages, a lot of, highly anticipated returns that ended up being over-delivering in a big way. And I'm sure everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. And there's absolutely no way that he's going to box in the Tyson and Jake Paul card now. Jose Aldo, that was his intention before last night, was to fight the last fight on his contract and then go box on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson card. That ain't happening. I can absolutely guarantee you that ain't happening. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about all of it. It was really exciting. We got to see who these guys are. I cannot wait to talk about this Anthony Smith fight because that was. I mean, I was scared to even say anything about the fight because everybody knows I'm friends with Anthony, and they're like, I don't know. Like, I just knew I would take, like, no matter what I said about that fight, if I favored Anthony there, I was going to take a bunch of flack. But, and because I just don't like, I actually genuinely care if he wins, you know what I mean? And so I was like trying not to even think about it. But I did bet for him to win by submission, plus 1,400. Plus 1,400. Probably my best single, like, not parlay bet win of my entire life. So, thank you, Anthony. So, let's start actually with that fight, and then I want to talk about Jose Aldo because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in Jose Aldo's career now after last night. So we're going to definitely talk about that and where he's going to go. Obviously, afterwards, we're going to talk about Pereira's fight, Michelle Pereira, and then we'll talk about this Alex Pereira grappling match with Anthony. and then I also definitely want to discuss the single worst defensive striker in the history of the world. You may have remembered him from being accordion knocked out last night in one of the most devastating KOs. Certainly the most devastating KO of last night. But I guess from minute one, when you watched how he reacted to strikes coming his direction, you're like, well, this is inevitable. Anyway, so talk about all that. But like I said, I want to start with Anthony. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I appreciate it. And ring the bell. Then you'll get notifications when I upload, which is very important because, if you don't get to see it immediately when I upload, then it's not as good later. So you know how that goes. I changed my mind. I want to start with Jose Aldo, and then we'll get to Anthony Smith. So I want to start with this. I wanted to show you guys these videos that I'm sure some of you guys have already seen them, but this is Alex Pereira and Charles Oliveira congratulating Jose Aldo after the fight. I love Brazilians, man. I really do. Watch this.
Carolina
love that shit, man. I love that shit. They're just such like they're such a fearsome group if you are on the wrong side of them. But like if you're on the inside, they're just the most loyal, good, like emotionally awesome people. I fucking love Brazilians, and I love that. So Jose Aldo, wow, dude. Like I watched the first exchange, the very first exchange that when Aldo threw the very first straight punch that he threw, and I went, oh my God, he looked better than I've ever, like, let me just actually ask, am I the only one that thinks that might have been the best he's ever looked? He looked so good. He looked so fast. He looked so focused. What that looked like to me, honestly, like this is my honest take, like reading it from not just like his skills perspective, was I think towards the end of his last run, he was like phoning it in, dude. Like it's like you could almost see in comparison that like whatever fire he used to have was out at the end, like his last, I don't know, 4 or 5 fights. Even though, he won some of those fights, but like that fire was not there like it was when he was younger. And he had it again last night, like a raging inferno. He looked so good. He looked so good. He looked crisp. He looked fast. He looked elusive. He was incredible. Those leg kicks are still there. He was mixing everything up. He closes distance, body shots. He is incredible, dude. He is incredible. And again, I just want to stress this, okay? His plan was to fight this one time and then go fight on Tyson versus Jake Paul. 0% chance that happens. Dana and the UFC are re-signing him right now for sure. For absolute sure. I don't know if he just became an unrestricted free agent, but if he did, oh man, he's going to get paid, son. He's going to get paid, son. Because that's a dude that has real value. And look, if I could see it, they could see it. That like, there's something different about Jose Aldo now versus like the very last version of basically like you had Jose Aldo, the up and comer, then you had Jose Aldo early champion, then you had Jose Aldo maintaining championship level, like I'm better than everybody, but he's like, confident and calm. Then the Conor McGregor thing happened, and then you have this completely different era of Jose Aldo where everybody knows he's really good, but like something had been taken from him, dude. And I did not really see it then, but now I do. Now I could just completely see it. Like Conor took something from him for real, and he got it back now. Finally, dude. Almost 10 years later. So my point is, there is absolutely no way that after a performance like that, the Dana and Hunter are going to be like, all right, see you later. Go fight on the Jake Paul card. Okay? Because let me show you something else. Let's look at the Bantamweight rankings. Look at the matchups at Bantamweight for Aldo, dude. Look at these matchups. Are you kidding me? Song Yadong versus Aldo. Rob Font versus Aldo again. Give me that. Give me Umar. Dude, Cejudo. Davison Figueiredo against Aldo. Chito Vera against Aldo. Peter Yan again against Aldo. Let Aldo go try to get those Peter Yan losses back. Sandhagen. Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's a nightmare. Dude, Sean O'Malley is such a nightmare for any 135-pound striker. He is a fucking nightmare. A nightmare. Comes in with his rainbow hair. Everyone's all, this guy's a joke. He's all, oh yeah. See what a joke it is when my fist is bouncing off your forehead from fucking 2 times as far away as you can hit me from, and I'm just as fast as you. Anyway, so but yeah, dude, Aldo could get him back in there fast too, dude. Like, I want to see more Aldo. I want to see him fight again fast. That was so fun, dude. How, like, honestly, I'm like 37. That is so bananas, dude. That is so 37 years old. What a savage. Age is not a thing that matters in terms of like, it's not like binary. That's that's not the right way of using binary, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, someone can be 37 and be in their prime. Someone can be 37 and be washed. Some people can carry it until they're 40. and still be vicious. Holly Holm still looked pretty good. She's like 43 or something, 42. You know, Aldo clearly has years left on his body for sure. Dude, he was so fast last night. Best I've ever seen him look, I think, dude, honestly. So, God, man, re-sign him and let's see him again fast. Now, really quick before we talk about Anthony, I want to say that Michel Pereira needs to start fighting some fucking real competition because that guy is a monster. He is a monster at 85, dude. Terrifying. He is running through guys at 85. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Also terrifying is Paul Craig's inability to move his head. That guy is really not good at not getting punched, dude. Chao Barajo literally almost killed him. He accordioned his entire body, and I mean, listen, dude. I understand. It's like I understand that you're tall, Paul Craig. Like I understand you're tall, and so when you're phoning in your striking, practice, you can kind of just go like this against dudes that you're sparring against. Okay, the dudes you're fighting in the UFC are way better than those guys, and they're going way harder. Okay. You need to try to go like this sometimes. Like it is like this is not the only striking defense that exists. Moving your head straight back on a line. Okay. Being tall does not inhibit you from going like this. Like you can still do that. You can still move your head like this also. That's possible. Good God, that was hard to watch. I mean, it was like the most first combination that he threw at him. I was like, well, I know how this is going to end. I take that back. As soon as I saw that Paul Craig was not going to be able to pull him into a grappling exchange. Paul Craig's jiu-jitsu is obviously absolutely amazing, but man, he sucks at not getting punched in the face. All right, so let's continue. Let's talk about Anthony. Anyway, so here's the deal. I'm going to tell you guys the 100% truth about my read on this fight from the jump, right? I watched, I'm not going to pretend that I'd seen all of Patrino's fights, but I went and watched at least not knowingly taking note of him. He's a young up and comer. He's undefeated, but he's 11-0. It's not you know what I mean? But so I went back and watched him this week, and I'm telling you, I was like, this dude's sloppy, man. This dude is sloppy. I think Anthony's going to beat this dude. He's dangerous. He's strong, but he's not super fast. He's not elite level fast. And the thing about this, like Anthony said, he's there's levels in this game. You got to look at these fights that Anthony has taken. He only fights the best. This was a major step down in competition. And I don't mean that as a negative towards Anthony. I mean that Anthony only fights the best guys. He's only ever fought the best guys. And if you go to, if you go to his record, and I told this narrative throughout throughout the last year where I'm like, dude, everyone is hammering him and they're not looking all people remember is wins and losses. And it's they can't look at context in a person's career. It's just look at this timeline and how this actually happened. He's not done. I'll take you guys all the way back to when he went on his run for his title shot. He stops Rashad Evans, then he stops Shogun, then he stops Volkan Ozdemir. Then he gets his title shot against John Jones. Everybody saw that fight. Then he wins by submission over Alexander Gustafsson. Then he goes on this right here in 2020. Okay, that Glover Teixeira fight was one of the gnarliest fights ever. Everybody knows that, dude. He kept 3 consecutive 10-8 rounds, and he kept on coming out. And I've told this story on the channel a million times, and I will continue to tell it anytime that I talk about his character. When I knew that before I actually knew him, when I knew that I liked him and was this guy's a stand-up dude, was when, after the Glover Teixeira fight, people were hammering his corner for not throwing in the towel. They were taking a ton of shit. How could you have let your fighter go back out after, multiple 10-8 rounds? And, you find out afterwards that Anthony went into that fight with 2 broken hands, and he broke on the face of an intruder in his house. But nonetheless, Glover put it on him, dude. And he just kept on coming back out. They were hammering, everybody was hammering his corner. And Anthony went out public and he was like, hey guys, if anybody on my team throws in the towel, they're fired. And everyone knows that. They didn't throw in the towel because I wouldn't allow them to. So you want to blame somebody for going out there, you could put that on me. I knew he was lying. I knew he made that up. I absolutely knew that was not true. And he was doing it to take the heat off of his corner. And I was like, I fucking like that guy. And I was right, because I do like that guy. But then he went out, he lost to Rakic. Now, dude, Alexander Rakic is a fucking monster. Like Alexander Rakic was beating the shit out of Yuri Prohaska just recently. You know what I mean? Like the guy's an absolute animal. But again, he lost 2 in a row. So people are like, oh man, I guess that's a wrap. Then he rattles off 3 consecutive first round stoppages. It's like as soon as you get down from the absolute elite guys, he just runs through these guys. You know what I mean? Like he just runs through them. It's like, all right, cool. Devin Clark, choke. Jimmy Crute, TKO. Ryan Spann, submission. Then he fights Ankalaev, and he breaks his ankle. And his mom died. Like very recently before that. He had a rough ass year. He had a problem with his camp, like wasn't even camping with his normal team. Death in the family. And then he spiral fractures his fucking ankle. That's in 2022. This is not very long ago. That's less than 2 years ago. Comes back after a super serious injury and lost to Johnny Walker. Cool. Then wins, then beats Ryan Spann. And then takes a very ill-advised short notice fight against Khalil Roundtree and lost that fight. And so I'm like, dude, I can explain all of these losses. Like I just didn't see it, man. I did not see it. And so when I was watching Vitor Patrino, I'm like, this dude's sloppy, man. This guy is sloppy. If he catches you, you're going to die. But you can see what he's doing. He's not super fast. He doesn't have the same skill set as like a Khalil Roundtree in terms of like striking. Different universe, And when I said he's sloppy, I had not anticipated sloppy on a level where he's going to try to shoot a double and leave his head on the outside of the body of a fucking black belt in jiu-jitsu who submitted 1,000 people. Like, bro. And, that's extremely sloppy what he did. But the reason that I think he was so sloppy is because Anthony kicked his leg out. Like the guy couldn't walk back to his corner and then back to the locker room. So, because dude, if you shoot and you leave your head on the outside, okay, like they're just like someone who's good is just going to grab your neck and they're going to guillotine you. Like you have to put your head on the inside, like put your head into their sternum. If you leave it on the outside against a guy like Anthony, he's going to choke you. And but dude, he snatched it super quick, didn't he? As soon as they went down to the floor, I was like, over. And then when they called it, I literally, dude, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram. You should. Real Jesse on Fire. I literally jumped. I slapped my chest so hard that I literally left a fucking handprint on my chest, like a very, very visible red hand on my chest. It was fucking hilarious. But anyway, congratulations to Anthony, obviously, to go into Brazil in a situation like that with the entire world writing you off. Like they think that they're watching your obituary or whatever, and go into enemy territory, like to fight an up and comer Brazilian on a card like this, and then come out with a first round stoppage is just so gangster. And this sport, I recognize that I view this sport very differently than a lot of people. I think that most people fall into like they watch each person and they're like, is this person going to make a title run or not? And that's kind of where they gauge everyone's performances. See, I see it very differently. Like I like to look at each fight and think about the circumstances that each fighter is in and then see how they perform. You know what I mean? Like obviously the title stuff, the title run to me is most interesting because of what it represents for the fighters that are in the fight. What does it mean? Like if this guy wins this fight and he becomes a champion, is this a person who has any money? Like, cause he's going to make so much more money. He knows that. Does he have a family? Is this guy super young? Is this guy's last title shot? Is this a Dustin Poirier situation in New Jersey? His last shot to win the title against the number one pound for pound guy in the world? Like, you know what I mean? Like the title is just part of a human story that I like to watch. And in this case, dude, Anthony was up against it in this fight. And he absolutely stepped up and delivered in ice cold fashion. Awesome. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys something because I found what he said about how he cinched his guillotine extremely valuable. So for jiu-jitsu people, let's watch him give us some details on how he cinched that up.
A come up. You've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry I missed the beginning. So
You're fine.
yeah. So I just want to know first, were you?
Bro, he is so happy. What about Bruce Buffer calling the wrong name? He is, oh my God, I've never seen him do that. He takes his job so serious. I bet you he is just dying over that. But I guarantee you he's called Anthony and apologized or whatever. But let's watch.
Are you surprised that he stayed that long in the guillotine? He was just sitting there for a while until you got it.
No, I mean, it's his inexperience. Like, some of that is like you kind of cinch it a little bit, but you don't really squeeze. Like, that's that high level transition when I said that there's levels to this game. I think a lower level guy would have jumped the guillotine and started squeezing right away. You got to get your grip right first. So as soon as he let me kind of get my grip a little bit tighter. I wasn't actually squeezing yet. So I was using it to defend the takedown, and I was just making sure that I had my grip where I needed it. Like, at first, it was kind of down low on his neck a little bit, like kind of where his chest was. But as he was trying to get to the takedown, I just keep working it around, and then I start working it to the middle of his throat, and then he lifted. So I don't think he thought he was in a lot of danger until it was too late.
Listen, that right there, there are some training partners of mine that are going to be unhappy that I watched that clip right there. So I appreciate that. That is that's like really valuable detail, guillotine detail for me. And maybe Dustin Poirier should watch that. Okay. Maybe Dustin Poirier should watch that right there, because if Dustin Poirier finishes Islam Makhachev by jumping a gilly, I am going to literally take this entire set and throw it into a wall like Superman and then clean up the mess afterwards because I'll be so fired up. I'm like, dude, I destroyed my set, but you know what? Dustin won the title jumping a gilly. Do that, Dustin. Don't squeeze. Get your grip right. That is seriously very valuable, dude, because like I absolutely do that. If I get it, I just like, I got him. Squeeze. Get it up under the throat and high on the neck. That's going to be uncomfortable for people because I'm really fucking strong. All right, so the last thing I'm going to say about Anthony Smith's situation is this. Pereira challenged him to a $50,000 grappling, I assume, Fight Pass match. Put it on Fight Pass. Anthony already did this against Glover Teixeira. This is far from unprecedented. And Anthony accepted. And here's the deal, okay? Here's the deal. A guy that was in Anthony's position 2 days ago, not a very likely scenario to get himself back to a title shot without a lot of wins consecutive, okay? Well, guess what, dude? The world champion just challenged him to a grappling match. What do you think happens if Anthony submits Pereira in a grappling match? What do you think that does for his chances of getting a title shot? Pretty good. Increased him pretty good, huh? Gets chokes him out on Fight Pass and then gets another, first round stoppage. I think he's getting that fight, dude. I think he is getting that fight, especially because Dana will do anything to not give Magomed Ankalaev a title shot because he hates him. I think he hates him. That is my read. I get energy. Like, Dana's one of my favorite things about Dana is like, dude, you always know where you stand, and he doesn't even necessarily need to say anything. But whenever he's talked about Magomed, or any time that I've watched him kind of looking at him, I don't get the feeling he likes him very much, is my read. But yeah, so I really hope they do that Fight Pass fight. I don't see why they wouldn't. You know what I mean? And then Anthony can win by submission, and then everyone go, oh, see, Alex he's not a real black belt after all. I told you guys on my live stream, what did I say about how good Anthony's grappling is? What did I say? What did I say about how sick his grappling is? Anyway, all right, so I think that's probably going to be the end of the video. So congratulations, Anthony, and congratulations, everybody else. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, chat a lot this week. Bye.